Welcome, everyone. This is Recovery Dharma. My name is Julia. I'm one of the facilitators in the Spokane Sangha, and it is such a joy to be here. It's so wonderful to see so many beautiful friends, and I welcome you exactly as you are, whether you're in a good mood or a bad mood, whether you are abstaining or if you are still using substances. You are all welcome to practice here today and to enjoy the beauty of mindfulness and the wisdom of the Dharma. For the month of January, we have been exploring one of the foundations, truly the bedrock of the Buddhist practice, and that is the Four Noble Truths. And we've been talking about them very generally and how the first noble truth leads into the second, into the third, and into the fourth. And if you're new to Buddhism or you're not familiar with Buddhism, the main idea is this. As human beings, we're all going to encounter discomfort. And whatever that discomfort is, whether it's physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, whether it is in the form of frustration, disappointment, envy, whatever it is, it causes us to get upset. And for most human beings, our propensity is to try to get away from that upset, to avoid it, to soothe it, and to cling to whatever we think is going to make us happy. That is the root cause right there. And so the second noble truth that the Buddha brought forward is if we can first acknowledge, wow, I'm dealing with upset. And then the second thing to do is, can I identify some of the conditions surrounding my upset? Can I even cultivate a little curiosity and wonder? Like, I wonder what's got me so agitated today. I wonder what has stirred me so deeply that I abandoned my own good mind and I lashed out at someone, or I returned to a habit energy that I know isn't good for me. Can I be curious about it and just ask? And the Buddha suggested that the more we understand the conditions of our own discomfort, the more harmony we begin to experience, because instead of judging ourselves for being upset or clinging to stories to protect ourselves, we become more neutral, more humble. And as a result, we experience a little more harmony. We experience less craving, less clinging, and we're more at ease. And the fourth noble truth that the Buddha imparted is there's a way to achieve this. And in his mind, there were 8 conceptual notions that we can explore called the Noble Eightfold Path. And by engaging with each of these 8 concepts, these enormous concepts, we can begin to really understand the nature of ourselves and allow that incorruptible part of us, our good hearts, our wise minds, to really emerge from the layers of dissatisfaction and resistance. I call it practice. The fourth noble truth is to practice. And so that's what we're doing here today. And on Monday this week, we were so fortunate to hear a meditation and some wisdom from one of our facilitators, John, who was talking about the middle way and understanding the middle way as the Buddha imparted and encouraged. And so today I'd like to revisit that. And my motivation for doing this and bringing this forward is because the Western mind has adopted and is habituated toward a very dualistic mythology. everything in Western civilization, all of our stories, all of our mythologies, our legacy is predicated upon good or bad, light or dark, right or wrong, black or white. And we sort of forget that there's a whole lot in between that. There's a whole lot of gray. Eastern philosophies are not rigid in that way. They have black or white thinking. There's no doubt about it. They have in their mythologies good versus evil, the light and the shadow. They have those dualistic qualities. But in Eastern philosophy, they also have the non-dualistic qualities, which is the combination, the paradoxes, the complexity that exists in between these two dual dynamic elements that define our lives. And so the Buddha encouraged, find that middle way, find what lives in between those two polar opposites and see what lives there. See how that can come alive in you. The Buddhist practice, however, took it a little bit farther as well. And in Buddhism, there's this notion of emptiness, where in this vast infinite space of nothing is everything. And so this is the idea of looking at, if you were to just look at my hands, for example, if my hands are defining dualism, it's either this or it's that, and non-dualism is everything in between, then we also get to cultivate a neutral observer that can see all of that. The black and white, the in-between area, everything in between. Does that make sense? Does that resonate? Yeah? So there's a beautiful symbol, the yin-yang, that I'd like to show you. And I love this symbol, so you can see that here is the black and the white. This is the dualistic state of mind. But there's a recognition that within the black, there's the white, a little bit of white, and within the white, there's a little bit of black to recognize the non-dual state, the bothness of it. But when we talk about emptiness and we talk about going beyond pairs of opposites, going beyond contradictions, and letting all of this drop away, that's where I want you to look at the dividing line here, this hair line that's separating this symbol. And notice that it's not a straight line. There's movement in it. Right? And what I'd like you to think about in this dividing line, think of it like a crack, no larger, no wider than a hair, just the smallest crack. And imagine, if you can, yourself as a drop of water, walking along this edge. It's this place of, I recognize that my life is defined by either good or bad, and my life is defined by both good and bad, and all the gray that lives in between. And when I allow myself to drip through this imperceptible crack, I drop into something much bigger. What I drop into is the falling away of all of these concepts. And I'm simply in the majesty of this moment, exactly as I am. For me, this kind of contemplation invites me to redefine and really re-narrate a story about perfection. There's something within my own mind and heart that has this striving energy for perfection, as if perfection is some state of being outside of me, beyond me, some achievable place that I must strive to get to. And when I'm in that state of mind, I almost invariably am not in the present moment. I'm not paying attention. And so this is almost like a full stop, bringing me right into this moment and reminding me of a couple of mantras. I belong here because I am here. And what if perfection is already here? What if I'm already embodying it? That includes all of my flaws, all of my anxiety, all of my mistakes and misgivings, all of my unskillfulness. All of that is there, coupled with the qualities that I possess that I find rather noble, that I continue to fuel, like generosity and kindness, compassion. But those qualities get tested in the middle ground, in the middle way, because I can be self-righteous and arrogant. I can be fearful, which means I'm ignorant. And all of these qualities mix together to make me perfectly human. And as I take that humanness within me and I put it into a drop of water and I drip myself in between this symbol, this line along the yin-yang, and I fall through, then I'm inspired to ask myself, what do I want to leave in this world? What kind of impression do I want to put down moment to moment to moment? How can I work with the qualities that are dualistic? How can I work with the qualities within me that are non-dualistic? How can I observe the whole thing together, defining me as a human being? And how can I breathe that into my spiritual being? Because my spiritual being is highly motivated to reduce suffering in me and others. And I don't have any clear answers here. I just practice. So for the remainder of our time in this meditation, I'd encourage you to consider a mantra as you breathe in, as you breathe out. And let's say you're not feeling so great today. Maybe your mantra could be something like, I don't feel okay. Breathing in, I don't feel okay. Breathing out, I am okay. Breathing in, I belong here. Breathing out, because I am here. Breathing in, perfection is here. Breathing out, I meet it. Breathing in, just like me. Breathing out, others are complex and wonderful. Let's spend a little time in silence so you can allow some space for your own wisdom to begin to sing your bones, come alive in you, and guide your practice. Friends, as you continue to assimilate this wisdom and allow it to come alive in your own mind and in your own heart, remember that your whole lifetime is going to be an opportunity to practice. So this is not about, again, perfecting this practice. It's about meeting this practice with the perfection you already are. And so I just want to bring us back to the yin-yang and notice that when we're in a posture of resistance, thinking, well, life should be the way I think it should be, but life is actually being what it is, and that's so frickin' annoying, right? Ugh, why can't it just be the way that I want it to be all the time? And that's where you can implement those wonderful tools, those wonderful instruments of peace that we talk about here all the time. Things like, wow, would you look at that? I'm resisting. I'm getting all upset. Huh, I wonder what this is all about. Or that feeling of, ugh, God, why are they doing it this way? Can't they see? It needs to be the way that I would do it. And then we can catch ourselves and go, ooh, look at that. Or maybe if we're not yet in a place to be so sing-songy, maybe we're not feeling very ooh-y, and it's more like, oh, we're a little growly. Let that be perfect. Let that be what it is. The whole point is to pause the momentum that we tend to do by going back and forth between one or the other. I'm either happy or I'm mad. I'm either right or I'm wrong. And pause just a moment and see if you can drop into the crack in between and open up to something much bigger, something much more universal, more eternal, something beyond words, beyond concepts, beyond feeling and thought. Come into the present moment and the majesty of your being. And I promise things will probably feel just a little bit better. Okay. And with that, I'd like to go ahead and end our practice today with a dedication of merit, but I'd like to do something different for our dedication today. And I'd like to teach you all a little bit of American Sign Language. So American Sign Language is truly a poetic language. And unlike a lot of languages, it's not something that is easily translatable. And so it's one of those things where a sign can have, when you interpret a sign, it can have layers and layers of meaning. So today, the sign that I want to share with you has to do with legacy. It has to do with the dualistic mindset that we've adopted, that we continue to carry, and that we can pass along if we're not paying attention. So that sign is, and if you look at my hands, so you can think of your hands even dualistically. So here's the good stuff, here's the bad stuff. And we put it here at the shoulder, a little bit in our past, and we can pass it down. So what my mother's negativity is right here on my shoulder, and that gets passed down. Okay, so that's legacy, that's heritage, that's ancestry in American Sign Language, okay? So what we are endeavoring to do is to recognize that that is there, that lives there, That's consciousness since beginningless time, and it's been passed down and been passed down. But because we are practitioners, we're like, we get to do this. Oh, would you look at this? I do not have to engage in this habit of just passing it along to my kids, my neighbors, my coworkers, the world. I don't have to spread that shit around anymore. I can just go, ooh, now what do I do with it? I don't know. Well, what I recommend we do is place it here at the level of the heart. So you can even do it very intentionally, and how I would recommend you do it is to just spread your fingers. Just, take that into that spacious part of your own wise bodhisattva, bodhicitta heart. So let's practice that together. Through this wisdom, we recognize our ancestral legacy, and rather than carry that on, we're just going to put that in. And may it transform and heal. And may I recognize that my efforts to heal my own pain, my own misgivings, my own missed steps, when I heal, everything heals. Thank you for bringing your healing here today. It is so inspiring to me. It's warming, it's illuminating, it's empowering. And I know you struggle, and I know you have hardship, and beside all of that is impeccable beauty and awe. And this, my friends, is sacred. And to this, I bow. Namaste.